Hello and welcome back to Tidbit of Torah. This week before our preschool restarted today, I had the opportunity to do some teaching and learning with our preschool faculty. And the topic that I was talking about with our preschool teachers was how do we integrate Torah into the classroom? Well, I could probably talk about that for 4 days. But what we talked about is when one studies Torah, there's traditionally different levels that one looks at the text. And the truth is when we teach Torah, or in the widest sense, as in like Jewish learning and values and rituals and music and that, there's different levels to that. There's sort of the Parshat level of Hebrew and words and language. There's below that is sort of Remez in this Pardes model of symbols and sort of signs and artifacts. Then we go a little bit lower as educators. We have a sense of drash, which means to seek or to inquire, in which we ask questions, which we tell stories, in which we make meaning and interpretation. And finally, the deepest level of studying Torah and therefore also teaching Torah, because those things are inextricably linked, both in the Hebrew, lilmod and lilamed, and also just in our own process as learners and teachers. The deepest level is sod, which means a mystery and a mystical connection, but also I think a really relational connection, one of love and connection, because ultimately when we think about being students, what do we remember most? I know for me, I remember the care and the enduring lessons and values that I learned from my teachers, including those both in school and also all the mentors in my life and family members. And so love endures. Love is a concept that we often think about as being a Christian concept or not as much a part of Judaism, but as Rabbi Shai Held recently wrote a whole book about, love is actually the core tenet, in his opinion, and in so many others of Judaism. And we see that in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Vaetchanan, in which we find the Shema. And after the line, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, after we talk about listening, hear Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. What does the Torah say? It says, V'ahavta, and you shall love. Et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. You shall love your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your might. And then the next line of Deuteronomy chapter 6:6 is V'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha. These words that I command to you today, Rashi says means to be relevant. That not just I command to you today that you should have bit levavcha, that you should have in your heart, but actually the verse says you should put al levavcha. You should put upon your heart. One of the beautiful tasks of being an educator, a parent, a grandparent, is to actually surround a person by love and introduce them to values of love, and then allow it to sit upon their heart and allow that student, that person, to do the work of integrating that sense of love and those values into their heart. I think about maybe like an ice cube or something that has to melt and soften and open in order to penetrate, right? That it needs to move. There needs to be a phase or form shift in order so that it can go from upon one's heart to in one's heart. Because we might wonder, like, why doesn't it say that these words that I will command to you, that it should become in your heart, but instead it's upon your heart. And I think that is the work we do in the world, is to be able to introduce love and allow the people around us to let that soak in. And therefore, for ourselves to be able to choose to soak in love around us. There's so many reasons why we might resist the sense of love, but Judaism, especially this times of year, beckons us to accept love as we read this part of Torah and as we head into the next Jewish holiday, which is Tu B'Av, which is like Jewish Valentine's Day. It's a day of love. It's a day in which more Jews get engaged than any other day of the year. It's a day when it's okay to celebrate love, to dance, to appreciate. And when does that Jewish holiday come? Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av. It comes just a couple days after Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, which is the darkest day in Judaism. And so how do we get out of a state of aloneness and grief? Well, I think the calendar is telling us it's by allowing love to sit upon our hearts and choosing to open up our lives, to not stay in isolation, but to stay into connection. Because how do we want to grow and age gracefully? We want to do so through relationship, through family, through presence, and through love. And finally, want to share that in case it wasn't self-evident from our Torah portion, just how important love is. What is the last letter of the Torah? It is a lamed, from the last word of the Torah, Yisrael. And what is the first word of the Torah? It is a bet, for the word Bereshit, the first word of the Torah. What happens when you put lamed and bet together? What word do you get? You get lev. In order to complete the Torah and begin it again, what connects the endings and the beginnings and everything in between? It's heart. It's lev. What a beautiful lesson that our Torah gives to us. And I hope that you can find some love upon your heart and love to share this Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.